In a significant development drawing global attention, the United Nations Rights Office has raised serious concerns over recent constitutional amendments made by the Parliament of Pakistan. Volker Turk, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, cautioned that the new changes could have long-term consequences for judicial independence and human rights in the country. On 13th November 2025, Pakistan passed what is now known as the 27th Constitutional Amendment. The amendment introduces major shifts in the country's legal and judicial structure. One of the biggest changes is the creation of a new judicial body, the Federal Constitutional Court, which will now handle constitutional matters, a role previously performed by the Supreme Court. Other changes include new procedures for the appointment, promotion, and transfer of judges, giving significantly more influence to the executive branch. The amendment also includes immunity provisions that protect certain top officials, including the president and senior military leadership, from criminal prosecution or arrest during their terms, a move that has alarmed many observers. According to the UN rights chief, these amendments were passed rapidly and without broad consultation with experts or civil society groups. He warned that this haste risks undermining the independence of the judiciary. The UN has highlighted several key concerns: the potential for increased political interference in the courts, the weakening of the separation of powers, and the danger that accountability mechanisms could be compromised. The sweeping immunity provisions, in particular, are seen as a threat to transparency and the rule of law, raising fears that serious abuses might go unchallenged. Volker Turk stressed that an independent judiciary is fundamental to protecting human rights and ensuring fair justice. He warned that weakening judicial independence could reduce public trust, undermine democratic practices, and leave citizens with fewer safeguards against abuses of power. Pakistan's government, however, has strongly rejected the UN's concerns. Through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, officials stated that the 27th Amendment was passed legally, with the required parliamentary majority, and after due legislative process. The government called the UN's remarks baseless and unwarranted, asserting that constitutional reforms are an internal matter and fully within the authority of elected representatives. Officials further argued that the amendments are meant to improve the legal system, not weaken it. Despite the government's defense, critics inside Pakistan, including legal experts, civil society groups, and political observers, are worried. They argue that the amendments may weaken the judiciary's role as a check on power, reduce protections for fundamental rights, and overly strengthen both the executive and military institutions. This debate highlights the delicate balance between constitutional reform and the preservation of democratic norms. For ordinary citizens, the implications are profound. Judicial independence is often the final shield protecting individual rights, ensuring accountability, and upholding justice. If this independence is compromised, the risk of unchecked power rises, potentially affecting every aspect of governance. As Pakistan moves forward under its revised constitution, the world will be watching closely to see whether these reforms lead to stability and improvement, or whether they erode the essential checks and balances on which a democratic society relies.